Hey there, it's Amanda Young here with Clean Up Your Energy, and I want to thank you for being on this conference to help with family recovery. This is amazing. I am so excited to be here because Shelly Young invited me after some work we've done together, and it's just an honor to be amongst all these professionals that are offering great resources for the families of people that have been dealing with addiction. And I'm here to talk with you about clearing out the energy of addiction. And for those of you who have gone through the traditional modalities of Western medicine and found that things just aren't working and you're looking for an alternative, well, here I am. I am the alternative method. I'm an energy healer. This wasn't really my path. I have an MBA in nonprofit management, so I don't really come at you with this woo-woo thing happening that's super non-traditional. Instead, I'm coming at you from one human to another saying there's a whole lot of awesome stuff out there that you might not be aware of, like how the heck does a cell phone get to reach out to another person across the planet? And how do you connect with people, just by pushing a couple buttons and then magically allowing things to happen, right? So that is happening because of energy. And 100 years ago, if you asked a doctor what germs were, they didn't have a clue. And now we're constantly washing our hands and we know what germs are. So we're entering the age of energy. It's kind of like the age of enlightenment, the industrial age. We've had all these different phases. Now we're in the energy age. And I'm one of the people bringing this new technology, which is really ancient. They've been doing it for gazillions of years. That's a technical term for those of you who like the technicality of things. So anyway, all of this, everything that we do as human beings is energy, including addiction. And as a family member or somebody going through addiction or having it wreck your family or really negatively impact your family in any way, shape, or form, I'm here to tell you that there's hope, okay? Don't give up hope on this, and don't think that you have to follow a traditional method if your gut and your soul aren't saying that that's not going to work for you. It does work for some people. It also doesn't work for some people. And I'm one of those people who I've been in therapy for various things in my life, stress, anxiety, trying to figure out what's going on with me and my life. I'm a mom. I've got 2 kids. They're 8 and 10. I've been married, 16 years. I'm just an average Joe. I'm sure that's not really the case, but I don't have addiction in my family. This isn't something that has consumed my world, but that doesn't make me any less human or any less part of the collective. And I know that my job here is to help you figure out if this path resonates with you. So there's so many professionals on this conference, and I encourage you to get a taste of each one of them, even if you just listen to a couple minutes of what they have to say. Figure out if that's something that resonates with you and what you're going through as part of your process, because what might work for you might not work for somebody else, and vice versa. So today we're talking about energy, and the reason I mention cell phones is because I don't really understand how they work I don't even understand how this technology works right now, right? Somehow I click a button on my video camera and you're able to see me from wherever you are in whatever time, place that you exist in the future. And magically we're able to connect. There's something magical happening here. So it's all energy. And to think that our physical bodies aren't energy, or the mindset, the thoughts that we have that are in our psyche aren't energy, is kind of, just not something that I'm willing to discount, right? So everything's energy. And I think of it as a chili. And if you put in a little bit of chocolate into your chili, it's going to totally flavor the whole thing. You can't just then take the chocolate out. Once it's in there, it dissipates and goes all through. So the energy of addiction, as with any sort of energy that you've got in your life, be it, so many different ailments that we have in our life, dis-ease, is all an energetic thing. So even cancer is something that's out here in our energetic body, and we bring it into our physical body. We bring it into our mind. We believe that we need this. It's a challenge that we take on in our human form and then need to heal. And that process of healing allows us to learn and grow and become even more magical human beings than we already were. So when it comes to clearing out the energy of addiction, we're talking about really releasing all those beliefs that you have around addiction. A lot of times, people who are in families and dealing with recovery situations are going to be told that there's a certain percentage of people that have success with these different recovery methods. They're going to be told that addiction is a lifetime struggle and you're never really going to be cured. Whatever the stories are that you're told, or the beliefs that you've been given on any level of your lifetime. Maybe it's your parents were addicted to something and now that's been passed through, or maybe, people are going to believe that it's generational or that it has to be a certain way. And up until this point, that's what they've been taught. And so there's no shame or blame or judgment in any of this, because everyone's allowed to have their own beliefs. You can believe what I'm saying is totally awesome or totally hogwash, whichever way you want to believe it. But what I'm here to say is I've seen really magical, dramatic, miraculous results with the clients that I've worked with who have identified what these beliefs are as far as how recovery is going to work for them. So in terms of addiction, it could be, I can't live without this substance, or whatever it is that you're addicted to. I have clients that have had negative relationships with body image and food issues their whole lives. And then we work on those beliefs that they have, I'm not good enough, maybe it's food controlling them, or alcohol controlling them, or substance abuse that is taking over their life, and they have these beliefs. So from an energetic standpoint, we go through and we identify what those beliefs are, and then we neutralize that belief. So if you believe you're always going to be a victim of this addiction, and this is always going to plague your family or your loved one, or that you're going to have to constantly worry about this person because it's your job to fix them. How many of us want to fix a loved one that is struggling? I've had loved ones that are struggling with other areas of their life that I just want to rush in like a superhero, swoop them up, make it all magically better, and then fly off into the sunset like everything's joyous and happy. And that's not always the case. But what I've learned to do and reconciled in my belief system, in my consciousness, is that it's not my job to fix everyone. That wasn't the belief that I came in with, or that I somehow picked up along the way. I thought it was my job to fix everyone all the time. And if you've ever seen that image of Atlas Shrugged, the Atlas character with this big globe on his back, and he's just, bearing the brunt of the weight of the world, that's what can cause a lot of neck pain and tension and challenges for people, because they are trying to take on too much. But when you flip that image upside down, that Atlas Shrugged, if you put the universe or the world underneath him, he could be doing a nice handstand or dancing on top of the world and really enjoying, squeezing all the juice out of the fruit that is our lifetime. So it's a change in perspective. What I'm asking you to do is consider the energy of addiction to be something kind of like a cloud that is around the Charlie Brown Pigpen character. It's this cloud that might be in your life or in the life of one of your family members that causes you to have beliefs around worrying around that person, wanting to fix that person, fearing that they're never going to recover, that they're not going to be able to have the life, and then even grief around mourning the loss of what could have been, the potential that they could have had in this lifetime because they've chosen a different path. What's really helped me in my journey of not wanting to fix other people or being able to grieve the loss of what I thought could be in any situation is really allowing my feelings and my beliefs to come out of that and energetically releasing them. I have tools that I magically do that with, and that's something that we can explore further if at any point you want to reach out for help with this. But there's also a lot of things that you can do to energetically get yourself in a space that's not so focused on being worried and stressed out and desperate for things to happen, desperate for an outcome. Because when you can release your connection to that outcome, when you can neutralize the hold and the grasp that these fears and beliefs have around you, there's a release that comes with that that's so incredibly peaceful. And in this process, as you're releasing whatever it is that's not serving you around the beliefs, the fears, the worries, you'll realize that each human being on this planet has their own path and their own journey. And at times, you might be the one that picks them up on that journey and helps carry them along the way. And other times, they might be the ones picking you up and carrying you on your way. But we all have our own karma to walk. From an energetic standpoint, what you reap is what you sow. No matter what religion you're talking about or what your belief systems are, there is this idea out there that it's the golden rule: do unto others as you would have done unto you. And this healing journey is one where it's going to likely bring up a lot of anger and grief and worry and fear and drama and victimhood and everything else. All that, right, is going to come up. But the hope in this is that you learn how to deal with each of those pieces in a way that gets you to be more free and resilient, so that when every one of these issues comes into your world, be it, you have a fear or a worry, you're able to see that, neutralize that idea, disconnect from it on an energetic level, so that it's not really taking every bit of wind out of your sails. When I explain this to a lot of my clients, it comes down to imagining a dinghy versus a cruise ship. And a dinghy is a little boat that bounces on if you put a dinghy on the ocean on a windy day, that dinghy is going to rock all over the place. It's going to bounce, it's going to toss and turn. If a big wave comes by, that little boat is going to get flipped over, the contents are going to spew all over the place. The people inside are going to get wet, their stuff's going to go everywhere, and every wave is threatening that dinghy to go into chaos and victimhood, and just it's at the mercy of the waves and the calmness of the ocean. Whereas you shift over to a cruise ship or a battleship or a big any of the big tanker ships, they are stable, they are steady. It's going to take a really torrential storm, seriously hurricanes, monsoons, to rock that ship. It can handle the big waves. It can handle the most storms because it's big and it's resilient and it's full of potential. And they're having fun on the ship. There's a lot of energy going into that's making it exciting. There's a lot of good stuff that's happening on that big ship that's not happening on the dinghy. So in your journey to help your loved ones through their recovery, or to reconcile your own feelings around them dealing with recovery, I encourage you to find ways and methods and strategies to shift out of that space of being the dinghy in life and becoming the cruise ship. And the way to really do that is to go from whenever a wave comes by, looking at that wave from as an observer's perspective, instead of diving into the wave and getting wet and jumping right in and getting messy around it, taking a step back and saying, okay, what really happened? What really happened here? Maybe there was an instance where your loved one got into a rough situation and is working through that. Your emotions and the story that you put into that, however much you put into that story and that situation, the emotion you attach to it, the judgment you put on it, is going to make that more unstable and more of the dinghy rocking all over the place. When you can detach from it from an energetic standpoint, that gets you to be the bigger cruise ship. That allows you to step into a space where if this person needs help, you have the stability to throw them a life vest and bring them aboard in a way that's not going to completely rock the ship. Think about sending a life vest over when you're in this tiny little dinghy. You might not have the capacity to serve that person or bring them aboard. Maybe you don't even have a life vest to throw to them or a line to throw to them because you're just not in a place right now yourself that's able to really help and serve. We talk in our society a lot about putting your own mask on first. The fact that we even have to say that every time we get on an airplane and remind all the passengers that, hey, if something happens, we need you to put your own mask on first and make sure that the air is flowing so that you can help somebody else. The fact that we have to say that is kind of humorous because it should be first nature for us to take care of ourselves. But many times, as I find for women especially, we give and give and give, and we tend to take care of everyone else before we take care of ourselves. That's a great example of being a dinghy, because if you aren't supporting yourself, getting what you need, and being that cruise ship, it's much harder for you to reach out and support the other people in your family. So if you have family members that are going through recovery, dealing with addiction, and really being challenged with this piece of their life that's not working out as you'd like it to be, the best thing you can do is put on your own mask first and take care of your own energetics. What are your fears? What are your worries? What are your beliefs about this situation that you can tap into that are going to help this situation instead of inviting more chaos, drama, and worry and fear into it? The best way that I know how to do this, as I've mentioned before, is really learning how to neutralize these ideas and express your feelings and emotion, not as a judgmental or story-based feeling, but much more from a space of love and compassion and wanting to help. And maybe it's not your job to help that family member recover, or maybe you're not the one that needs to be the crutch. Maybe you're just the conduit to get them to the place. Maybe you need to help them most by becoming that cruise ship that's able to be that stable, steady resource for them in the future. Maybe you already are that stable resource and you're trying to figure out how to throw the rope out without having them, take you down with it, right? Like, how do you not damage your ship? And that's a matter of setting boundaries, understanding that they're walking their path and you're walking yours. It's not always necessary for you to carry them with you. It can be necessary for you to pick them up and help them over a hurdle every once in a while. And so boundaries can help you in this energetic space so that when the big waves do come by, say they're struggling in some point, you become a go-to resource for them. And when I talk about being the cruise ship, it's from a place of love, and it's from a place of non-judgment and compassion for their journey. We don't, as humans, always know what it's like to walk in somebody else's shoes. We don't always understand where they've been or what they've been through. And when we put judgment on it, or when we try to figure out what's going on for them without really being a listening, caring ear, we can sometimes create more waves and shrink to fit their vibration more than what we wish. And that's the first time I've mentioned vibration, so I want to explain that a little bit more too, because when I'm talking about the dinghy, it doesn't have a very high vibration. When you're working with people or dealing with people in your life who are in the energy of addiction, they're also likely going to have this lower vibration. They might have some parts of their life that are going really well. Maybe they're financially successful and they're hiding their addiction really well. Maybe they have great relationships, but behind the scenes things aren't going well. That tends to be because the vibration in some areas is higher than others. But what you're looking for is a really strong foundation. So they might appear to be a cruise ship, but really once you get on board, you realize that that's not the case. Energetically, what we're looking for is to raise that vibration so that you can get to a space where you become the cruise ship. Your body is more resilient to illness and disease. That doesn't come in because you've got this strength. The waves don't really affect you and rock your boat. Hopefully that's all resonating and making sense with you. And if you have any questions on any of this, I know I'm covering a whole lot of things, but I just want you to have a baseline of energetically, how does this work? How does the energy of addiction, disease, you name it, get into our systems and really cause us to not be as energetically stable or supportive as we could be, as this cruise ship image is really getting you to be. So when I talk about clearing out energy, what we're really doing is getting back to a place where we're in alignment with who we are and what we believe and what is true to us. You could have had a second grade teacher that told you you're never going to amount to anything, or maybe somebody called you lazy and fat. Those things are, if we as humans decide to take them on, that idea can be something that we grab on energetically and we tuck into our physical body. When I work with clients, a lot of times they will have a physical reaction to the stuff that we're removing emotionally, their belief systems that are coming out of their mindset, things that we're resetting, and we're neutralizing those thoughts because they've been burying this. We've been taught as a society to bury all of our emotions, our feelings. Don't cry and don't show emotions, and make yourself small and unseen, especially when addiction is dealing with abusive relationships as well, right? There's that fear, there's safety, not feeling safe. All of these issues get tucked away into our cells and into our DNA and locked into our systems. And energetically, I have the tools to release that. Some of it can be released by exercising. I've got a whole beginner's guide to energy cleansing that can really help you with simple techniques like going on a walk or hanging out in the woods or drinking more water, being more active. There's a whole list of things that you can do, including meditation and breathing, that are all going to get you in a space where you are expanding the size of your energetic ship. That expands your capacity. It allows you to put on your own mask and help others. And it's going to allow you to help your family in a better way as they go through recovery. If you're struggling, whatever your journey may be, most people will see that the real work needs to be done by the person in the family who's dealing with the addiction and who's, at kind of the ground zero point of really in the trenches dealing with it. But what's missed oftentimes is that all family members are going to have worries and beliefs and fears and grief and various levels of emotion and story and drama and trauma that are going to happen because, face it, somebody you love is in a challenging time. And as human beings, we want to help out fellow human beings, especially when it comes to our family. There's so much that goes into healing. And a lot of it can even start with forgiveness. You might not be at that point. Maybe that family member situation is really too tense for you to get to that space. But when you do get to that space, it's a really beautiful place to release. And it's a great lesson to learn. So as you're dealing with your individual situation, understand that there are so many incredible factors that are being pulled into this journey. If you can take care of yourself and make sure that your energetic is the biggest, strongest, cleanest space that you are feeling connected to who you are, you're presenting yourself and following your beliefs and setting your boundaries, that's going to be the best way for you to help A, yourself, and B, your family member who's going through this. Everything is energy, and when you raise your vibration, you'll naturally raise the vibration of those people around you. So the best way to clean out the energy of addiction and clear that from your space is to work on you, work on your beliefs, release those stories that you're telling yourself, and neutralize all those fears, worries, expectations even. If you're expecting that this addiction is going to travel from family member to family member throughout the generations, it's very possible that that's going to be the case. A lot of times doctors will say you have 2 weeks to live, and it's the people who just say, no, I'm not going to believe that actually make it. There's some people who are going to accept that as their diagnosis, prognosis, and they're going to just go with it. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. So our words have incredible power and meaning. And when we can take away the power and meaning of negative beliefs that people have given us, once an addict, always an addict, you never really recover from addiction, whatever these stories are, you're always going to be in recovery. Your family member's never really going to get better. This is something you're going to have to worry about for the rest of your life. Whatever those beliefs are, I'm here to tell you there's an alternative way to go through this, to clear those beliefs and not have that be your story anymore. And if it's pressures, beliefs, whatever it may be that's the root cause of any type of addiction, we go through, we figure out what that is. A simple conversation. Many times I talk to people, they know exactly what it is and what's going on. They know what happened, what the trauma is, or they have an inkling of where the beliefs are that are causing that. Energetically, we just take it all away. I call myself a trash collector for energetic junk. And if you think about in your lifetime, how much trash you've ever had that you've ever touched or collected at any point in time. Maybe you have a basement that needs to be cleaned out, or a garage that's cluttered, or just a junk drawer and a closet that really just needs a little bit of love. Energetically, imagine that all that junk that you have stored is negative energy. You've been building it up your whole life. In the case of your human, you've been storing it in your body until, since the day you were born. Beliefs, ideas, negative thoughts, patterns, whatever that may be. And all those different pieces get stored in you, they get stored in your house, they get stored in your space, and they clutter up your energy. So, to clear that out, we energetically, physically, you can go to your garage or your junk drawer, and you can remove the items and throw out what's no longer serving you. Energetically, just like we weren't taught how to wash our hands 100 years ago and we didn't know that we were taking germs and cross-contaminating, now we have the tools to energetically remove that stuff from your system so that it's no longer your identity. When I work with somebody who says, I'm an addict. I've always been an addict. I'll always be an addict. It is just part of who I am. There's a piece of my heart that just kind of breaks, because I know inside that we remove those beliefs and you no longer have to show up as an addict. You no longer have to have that shame and that blame and that piece of you that label no longer needs to be there. So if you have a family member that's going through this process, or you yourself are going through this process and are looking for an alternative path, please reach out to me. I'd be honored to help you on any part of your journey, even if we just have a conversation and you learn a little bit more about what's possible with the work of energy. I'd be so honored. This journey of being a human can be very challenging, and I don't want to say it's hard, because that's a belief that I would be putting on you. You might think that life is easy, and if I come by and say life is hard, then all of a sudden you could conscribe to that, and all of a sudden, wow, life might get hard for you. If you have that as your belief, we can get rid of that idea too. But what I want you to go away with this is a bit more hope and possibility of what's out there for you yourself to go through as a grieving family member, trying to help out this situation, really struggling with the anxiety or the fear or the stress that might be caused by having this situation in your family. Whatever it is you've got going on, or whatever it is that your family member that's struggling has going on, please know that there's hope for this to be changed in a completely different way. And it might be non-traditional, but it's incredibly powerful. And the fact of the matter is, I have clients on a daily basis sending me thank you notes and messages of all the miracles that are happening in your life, in their lives. So if you're looking for a miracle in your life, be it in how you're responding to your family member that's dealing with addiction, or how you yourself are dealing with addiction, please reach out to me. Be honored to help you in any way that I can. You can find out more information by going to amandahyoung.com. That's H as in healer, and young is the opposite of old. I'll always be the forever young. amandahyoung.com. If you put in the / and the word free, you can schedule a call with me. We'll take 15 minutes of your time just to talk about what's possible. And if you go to that website too, you can scroll to the bottom. There is the Beginner's Guide to Energy Healing, which will teach you a little bit more about how to clean up your own energy. It's a free resource, a great place to start. I also have a podcast that is the Finding Clarity podcast, which will give you a ton of energetic tips and tricks to really help you get in contact with your soul, your alignment of who you really are and how you need to show up in the world. Each of these steps can take you from that space of being a dinghy, get you into the place of being a cruise ship, where you can have a party boat and you can help other people and you can really shine your light brightly for others. So no matter what it is that's going on in your life, I just want you to know I'm here. I'm sending you and your family members love and all the healing light and love that I possibly can here on earth as we go through this journey. We're all humans. We're all connected. We're all in the same soup together. And I'm happy to be in it with you and happy to help you out and shine my light. Come on over to my cruise ship anytime. I'll happily throw you a line and see what we can do to get your vibration raised. Because as we collectively raise the vibration of all this other stuff is just going to fade away. So please reach out. I'm here for you as a resource, and continue watching the rest of these amazing experts talk about ways that you and your family can heal through addiction. Thanks so much to Shelly Young for putting this together and for inviting me and being a beautiful human, sharing her journey and her healing with the rest of the world. Best of luck to all of you. Go forth and be awesome. Take care.